Hi there, and welcome to my next video on my YouTube channel, Unapologetic with Lorelei. Today I'm in another piece of beautiful nature. It's in the heathland, which is unfortunately not in bloom anymore, so it's not the middle beautiful purple, but it's still a great vibe to be here. And every time when I get here, it just gives me that feeling, and yes, I can breathe again. And especially about the topic that I want to talk with you about today is about estranged parents. And in this case, I would like to talk about an estranged father. And I must say, until a couple of years ago, I never even heard of it. I didn't know it existed. I don't know, maybe it's ignorant or naive, but I never heard of it. I grew up without a father because my father died when I was 5 years of age, and he never really had a choice to be with us or not to be with us. It was just taken away from him due to a motorcycle accident. But now my ex-husband is a different thing altogether. He chose to be an estranged father. And it's not to bash him or to scandalize him or anything like that in this conversation, in this talk here. But I'm just saying it really hit me hard that it existed, something like that. A father willingly um, or a mother sometimes as well, of course, taking distance from their children, and not even take distance, just yeah. And I think the word these days is ghost them. It's just, for me, it was never a realistic thing to think about, but it happened, and it is still happening. And well, my children are now at the point it will stay that way. But I don't want to go ahead of things, and it's the topic itself I want to talk about, and not all about my personal thing, but still it's related to the topic. So, but what I want to do as well is show you the area where I am rather, and let you enjoy beautiful nature as well. And I hope you enjoy that. I even heard sometimes lately people who are telling me that because of the beautiful sceneries, they are actually watching my videos on TV, which gives a beautiful vibe. So perhaps it's an idea for you too. I don't know. I never thought of that myself, but well, it's an idea anyhow. But before I'm going to show you, I'm going to flip the screen rather. I will tell you I'm going to talk more about the topic estranged fathers in this instance, and I will talk to you whilst talking and while walking on this beautiful piece of nature. So I will flip the screen, and I see you on the other side of the screen. Right, so I am here at the heathland, and well, very glad to show you where I am at this particular moment. You see sometimes a few trees coloring, and that you can tell is autumn on its way. Well, it's already started actually, but yeah, I hope you like the scenery that I can show you during this video. And I want to come back to the topic actually. What I wanted to talk with you about today is, I don't know if you can relate to it, if you have come across it in your personal life or in your or with colleagues or whatever. I don't know if you're familiar with the thing of being of estranged parents, a father or a mother, or a child as well. I suppose a child also can choose to estrange themselves from the parents. But I never heard of such a thing in the first place. Fathers who choose to be absent. As I said, my father didn't choose to leave. He died when I was 5. So absence for me was tragedy, not a choice. And that's really a difference, in my opinion. So now then later, I did see it happening by choice from very close by, because it was my marriage. And after our divorce, he made the decision to totally step away. And the impact on my children was real, and on me as well, of course. But a lot was because of, my heart was bleeding for my children. I must say, of course, there is something that happens before those things. It just not happens well, normally speaking, I guess, not from one day to the other. There was a lot of crisis and drama that goes that leads to that. But nevertheless, I mean, to be estranged is a different thing altogether. Not talking anymore, not having any contact at all. And I'm a person who always says, well, there's also always room for talk, always room for improvement, always room for change, but obviously, not everybody feels the same way about that. Now, the children's response to that, um, they 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 became a little bit older when the actually complete estranged thing happened. They were about, I think, the age between 12 and 15. Um, well, I saw them protecting themselves because the hurt was too much, and I think they accepted that estrangement from their father, and it came a way to preserve their mental health. For years, they would ask me like, "Oh, do you think on my birthday, for instance, do you think he still thinks about me? Do you think he still remembers me? It's my birthday." And well, of course, your mother heart bleeds at that moment, but I think that's about all that's left of still talking about him as well, because yeah, what can you say? What can you say? There is nothing to say. There is no contact. So it's a sad thing for children's experience, and it's also, of course, um, yeah, it hacks deep into your system, I believe, and it did give them a different start in life than what you've hoped for when you decide to have children together. But it's also about reality, about limits, and about what people apparently can give and cannot give. Not willing to give, but perhaps for the person who is estranging themselves, maybe if for them it's a case of they can't give anymore. So I cannot judge over that. I have my thoughts about it, but as I said, I can't really judge too much because you have to live your life further, continue living your life, and supporting your children and guiding them as much as possible that you can. But I do believe that uh, you know when I think about my own childhood, it connects with each other because okay, my dad died, so there was no option to be with us. And I'm talking about that in my other video. It's called Growing Up Without a Father, where I'm talking about that. You might want to have a look at that as well. It reflects on the loss that shapes you when your father is not around anymore. And whether it's through death or through absence by choice, it's it's different. It's not the same. It's different, and yet it does connect to each other because the truth is the impact on the child's life is well strikingly similar. It's what I've been seeing, and the lessons that you learn from that, and your life lessons, me and the children, the life lessons you learn from that, and the subconscious grief, and it says something about who we become and how we're dealing with all of that, and of course there might be trust issues or commitment issues or things like that, because you let it happen once but you don't want to happen to you twice, for instance when they are going into a relationship. And I don't really pretend to understand why somebody steps away. um, Perhaps it's the same as sometimes you can't really understand why somebody decides to step out of life. That's also something you cannot judge, and you can only, well, witness it's happened. So you can't reverse this. Okay, being estranged you can reverse, but whether that's a wise thing to do is another question. But saying that, even though I don't pretend to understand fully why people step away, in this case their father, my ex-husband, I do know the consequences, and I know it does take a toll on children somewhere along the line. I don't think the missing part is a part of it anymore. Well, not in our case, because as I said, you grow towards a certain situation, and there was crises and divorce hanging in the air, but this was a different thing. So I've learned to accept it in a way that protects all of our well-being, the minds and the children's rather. And because staying angry or trying to rationalize it endlessly, it doesn't really heal anybody. It doesn't help anybody. It doesn't bring any kind of solution. And sometimes to accept it is the only way to create peace for yourself. Well, of course, that's my opinion, and that's what my channel is about. It's about sharing my life lessons, my experiences, my thoughts on this, and it might be that you have a totally different opinion about it, and that's fine too. You're allowed to. Of course, you are allowed to. And Well, just to cut my just to cut in between here, don't you think it's absolutely beautiful, this area? It's just such a peaceful vibe. And I must say there is a little bit of cloud hanging over my head here, and could be that some rain is going to fall on my head. But yeah, never mind about that. I always I always consider rain to be a blessing in this case of washing things away. Sometimes bad energy or bad thoughts, I just, I metaphorically let them wash away by the rain. But I hope still, I still do hope it stays dry a little bit. But coming back to, well, the healing part of being a victim of an estranged father, or if you can call it victim, I think that's not the right word choice, because I always made sure my children were not feeling a victim of that decision. They're not a victim. Sorry, I stumble over my words here. They're not a victim, and they didn't cause it either. They should never feel guilty for it. Never in a million years. Not one day, not 1 second. They should think that. And that's what I really always emphasize to them. I really, really made sure they realize it's not your fault and it has nothing to do with you. It all has to do with the person estranging themselves. So, no guilty feeling, no whatsoever. And that makes it easier, I think, to accept it for what it is. So the only thing I could do, and I'm still doing, I think, is about, yeah, uh, creating a presence where, and a life where this absence exists from their father. But I cannot only show, I can only show my children my love, my unconditional love, rather, and constantly and care and guide them, because guidance when they grow older, and it's a different kind of guidance when they're young. So I'm glad to learn from that. I learned from them, and I hope I guide them well. Well, they're telling me I do, so that's great. And I want to demonstrate to them that family, our family, or well, anybody could do that to their family, that family isn't defined by who leaves, but by who chooses to stay in action and in heart, and of course, in a healthy way. I mean, I never really let myself down and, became an alcoholic and drug addict and, put all that pressure on my children. That would be just so, I could never do that. No. For the children, you have to be strong, and also for yourself, because there's a little piece of proudness that comes in there as well, and a stubbornness like, no, 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 no. We're going to be mentally healthy despite this crazy kind of thing called estranged parent. And by saying that, I think estranged fathers, when they choose absence, um, they do leave a mark. You can't deny that. I can be happy and loving and everything. It does leave a mark, but how deep and in what kind of capacity, you can try to have a little bit of a influence on that. And they learn life lessons from it. They learn resilience. They learn about love, and I probably think they learn about the presence, because I hope, well, if they ever do choose to have children, they know the meaning of being present in somebody's life, in the life of the person that you love. And adults can choose how they respond. Like in my case, I can choose how I respond. I can respond with compassion, or with getting some clarity in my head, and have a steady heart for them, for myself, and for them, for my children. So I don't know if you can relate to any of this, as I said before. Maybe you know of it, people that it happened to. As I said, it can be mothers that are estranged fathers, or even more kind of relationships I can't think of now. But I do hope, whatever it is that you're going through or have been going through, or know people in your surroundings that went through this, I hope you can take some, well, no, not take. I give some empathy to the persons who have been through it, and give them some understanding, because the world, after all, the world can't really rewrite somebody else's choice. Well, I can't anyhow, but we can shape, rather, how we show up, and how we teach our next generation to show up too. And I think that's an important thing to do. In the meantime, I hope you have enjoyed a little bit of view that I have been showing you. And I hope you have a nice day. And I hope you will take care of yourself, very good care of yourself, and also your loved ones. So I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.